So we're going to just talk about family care payments, Fiona, today. And we obviously, as you know, we've done quite a few family care payment reports for clients in the past. So can you just explain a little bit about what are they?
Yes, a lot of people, and we've all seen the headlines where people are unpaid carers for a relative, for a friend. There is the ability for a person providing care to be paid for it without affecting their carer's allowance, which is obviously another big political issue. So, what a person is able to do is get paid for the actual care they provide. Now, as we both know, we get calls where people are looking after somebody, but the law is really very specific about what care is. It's not just being with somebody, it's not just giving them a cup of tea or making a sandwich, although lunch is a very important part of care. So, anybody who is caring, providing care for somebody, whether that person has mental capacity or not to agree to a payment, in order to be paid, should get a care needs assessment. Because this care needs assessment will set out what actual care is needed. So we're talking about getting somebody out of bed, getting them dressed, getting them breakfast, dealing with medication, making sure they've got lunch, what happens at tea time, do they need help with toileting, and things like that. And the situation we find is that somebody might, in their heads, be providing care for 50, 60 hours a week, but actually, under the legislation, it's a lot less. However, they're still providing care, and the law is very happy to pay them from that person's money to provide care. Now, it can sometimes be complicated because the family are providing care and they're professional carers. But if you are providing care, then there is usually a payment that can come with it. If that can be done, we would like carers to actually be paid for their very, very hard, exhausting work.
So when can actually somebody apply for it? What's the process, I suppose?
Okay, so the process is if the person you're caring for has got mental capacity to decide to make a payment, and there's legal tests and Mental Capacity Act tests, but if they understood what they're paying for, then the person in receipt of care gets a care needs assessment. Within that care needs assessment, there will be a section about what the hourly rates are for that person. Under a revenue and customs concession, as they call it, if somebody is entitled to, and I say this just to make the maths easy, £10 an hour, then that is reduced by 20%. So £2 comes off, and that person can receive £8 per hour without having to worry about paying tax on it. So the care needs assessment will set out how much care this person needs. Might be 10 hours a week, again, just to make the maths easy. And so 10 hours a week at £8 an hour is £80. So if the person needing care has got mental capacity to agree to that, then the care needs assessment will set out what they need and how much. And that will protect the person who needs care because they are only paying for actual care, not somebody just being there. It will also protect the carer because the carer can then explain to adult services, other siblings, the Office of the Public Guardian who might question things, that they are providing a service and the money they're receiving is not a gift, it is payment for a service provided. Now, things get a bit more complicated if the person doesn't have mental capacity to agree to making these payments. And so you will have an attorney or a deputy who will be in that position. My advice is get the care needs assessment first and foremost, work out the maths. Is the carer happy to be paid that amount for the care they're going to be providing? Unfortunately, lots of people are given the impression that if they give up their job where they're getting £30,000, £40,000 a year, then they can be paid 30 or 40,000 pounds a year for care. Unfortunately, carers do not get such lovely hourly rates, and therefore it's quite important to make sure that the carer understands how much they're going to be paid. If they're happy to do that, then the attorney, the deputy, will need to apply to the Court of Protection for an order to say that this person is entitled to that care payment. That will automatically give the HMRC concession because you've got a court order. It will mean that it's very clear when the cared for person dies that it wasn't any gifts, these were actual payments, so you haven't got to worry about that. The other major league advantage is if somebody is a paid for carer, they will get national insurance credits towards their state pension. So the benefits of having what seems like an expensive piece of paper, a court order, are absolutely enormous as they protect everybody.
And so many people don't know about it, do they? That's the frustrating thing. You know, there's so many, let's say, unpaid carers that are out there that could really benefit from this. And it doesn't affect, let's say, the carer's allowance either.
No,
Yeah.
it's declared that you've got it because obviously government departments
Yes.
will know that you've got it. But certainly the last time it was questioned, carer's allowance and care payments, family care payments, don't affect. So you are actually being paid for the hours you put in. And I would love everybody who does care to get paid for it because,
Absolutely.
as we've said, it's exhausting and hard work, and why not?
Is there any situations where they don't get it at all, where somebody wouldn't be entitled to it?
Not that I'm aware of, because if somebody has care needs,
Yeah.
the tricky bit is how much are those care needs? So economically, if you've got somebody who's only got maybe 5 or 10 hours a week of care needs, you probably wouldn't make the application. But you would review the care needs. Certainly if somebody's then taken into hospital or if somebody is has a stroke or there's something that happens, then you would look at it. But usually whether you live with that person and provide care or whether you live around the corner and pop around and provide care, providing there is a care need, an
Yeah.
actual care need, not I sit with mum for 4 hours every afternoon and we have a chat, then yes, there's no reason why it shouldn't be applied for. It's making sure that you have all the information to hand though, and that the carer understands what they will in reality be paid.
Yes.
The great news about the court order, is it's got a built-in pay rise every year. So once established, then that person doesn't have to go back to court every year to get more money. But you should, if there is a care need, get paid. There should be no reason why you shouldn't.
And from the client's perspective as well, I'm assuming it has to be affordable and somebody has to do the maths of what can be paid out as well from the client's point of view.
Yes, so when an application is made to the court, that is a really important part. The only time that it may not be affordable is if the person doesn't have enough income, doesn't have enough capital, in which case, financially, you would go to the local authority and say, this person needs care, because the council will then pay towards care.
Yes.
Most people who are dealing with this, though, that there is the money, there is the income, and the choice has been made that family will look after this person rather than getting others in. It may well be that the person who needs care will only accept care from family.
Yes. Yeah.
And therefore, no matter what else is going on, in order to have that person looked after, it's family that need to do it. And you can have multiple people providing the care. It doesn't just have to be one person. Court orders can cover more than one person, but the court will need to know who's providing what hours and how much each person will be paid.
And each family member, do they have to keep some kind of like tally, like a timesheet and things like that? They have to sort of justify sort of what it is that they're providing?
If I was providing care for somebody with a care needs assessment, then I wouldn't be writing an essay every day, but I would have an old-fashioned lever arch folder where I would say, you know, today is Tuesday and I got mum up and I provided her with breakfast. Today she had a shower, or today she had a wash down, or we spent half an hour doing medication because mum wasn't so great this morning. So just a little snippet so that
Yeah.
um, if anybody should challenge the fact that there were care needs, A, we've got a care needs assessment that clearly says she has, but B, you've got a note that says, I provided 2 hours of care today. And
And
then,
that's really useful information anyway, isn't it? From a client's
yes,
perspective, just to have to hand. Yes.
absolutely. And it stops arguments, because you can quite clearly say to siblings or people who might inherit the estate, or to adult services, look, here's my book. This is what I've been providing.
Yeah.
Here's my care needs assessment that said I needed to provide it, and I did it within the hours that it was. And it's really important that people who are doing these jobs are protected. It is also important that the person in need of care, who may not have mental capacity to understand all these finer technicalities, is getting the care they need, and they're protected, because
Yes. Yeah.
it is a record of what's happened. So I think you don't need to write an essay. You don't need to say, "Oh, mum put her leg down, both, you know, both legs down one set of trousers," and things like that, or I did this or that. Doesn't have to be an essay. Just a couple of lines, just to explain what you did, is so helpful going forward. If you don't want to create a lever arch file, get a diary.
Yeah.
Most
I'd say
diaries
a
have
lot of
got.
the people that we've worked with that we've done this for, I think diaries have been brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you've got the date and you can put it in there, and either get one that's a page to a day, doesn't have to be enormous, or has just got a decent size for each one, and just put it all in there about what you did. And then it's just there. You've not written the essay, but you have got proof of what you did in case anybody should question it later.
And I think that's often quite surprising for family members when they actually do that, when they're actually writing down what they're doing, just a few, even if it's just a few lines, it's actually quite, quite a shock to them of actually how much they're doing and time spent,
Yes,
really. So yeah, I
yes.
think that's,
Yeah, and having the care needs assessment and having the diary is a
oh, it's
great way
brilliant.
of
Yeah,
going, because when you are in the caring situation, you may not necessarily notice the deterioration. So what I like is, at least annually, if nothing else has happened, is to get another care needs assessment, because you may not have noticed the hours have increased, but if you have
absolutely.
another care needs assessment, somebody who has not seen this person for a year coming in will notice, and that may mean more hours for you, um, so that to be paid. You're
Yeah,
obviously already doing hours, but you haven't noticed because you're just looking after mum, or you're looking after
exactly.
dad.
And I think, for us, I think, having the diary when we're going to do the assessment is just brilliant because, like I say, we can go through that and reflect on that and walk through with the client's family, which is just so helpful when those are in place as well. So thank you.
Absolutely, because everybody needs different care, and people need to be looked after different ways, and
Yeah.
people have their routines. And none of our clients are like any of our other clients, which is
No,
the joy of what we do.
exactly. That's why we love it so much. Okay, so thank you very much. I think that's been brilliant, and hopefully people find that really helpful and be applying for the family care payments, which is really good. Okay, thank you.